3.2, and it is monopoly markets. When I'm talking about monopolies, our objective for this lesson would be discuss the characteristics, also the advantages, the disadvantages of a monopoly. Okay, this is the last section of this chapter, and you can find that on page 253. So these are the objectives. Here they are more detailed, but the first thing that we will be doing is defining a monopoly and what does a pure monopoly do and what are the characteristics of a monopoly. So you guys, mono, as we said before, it means we're talking about one. So it is mainly only one firm that is dominating the market. It is the only firm that is supplying us with that product. So to them, they are the ones in power, and us as consumers, we do not have any other choice. So the problem here would be whether we like it or not, whether the quality is good or bad, we are forced to buy it. If, for example, the price was too high, I do not have any other choice, so also I would be forced to buy it. Okay, so if I want to define a monopoly, it would be a single firm or a group of firms acting together with enough market power to stop any competition from entering. Okay? And as we said before, from the beginning of this lesson, we said that they will be making something called abnormal profits, which means they are making excess profits. Now, as you can see, when I'm talking about a monopoly, the supply is limited in amount. So when the supply is limited in amount, it means that my supply will shift to the left. Here is when the supply will shift to the left. Automatically, look what will happen. This was my old equilibrium point, and this is my new equilibrium point. Since the supply is limited in amount, what's happening? It will shift to the left, which would lead to increase in price, and we have less products being produced. Okay? Now, the second objective that we will be discussing is discussing the disadvantages of a monopoly, or the problems that occur from having a monopoly. A monopoly, since it's abusive because it has a lot of power, it can automatically restrict competition and consumer choice. We do not have competition since they create barriers of entry, and I will explain in a while. And we do not have any other competitor, so we don't have any other choice. We are stuck with the choice that this monopoly is providing to us. What do? On purpose, they will supply less, as we saw in the previous slide, in order to increase their price. So their supply will decrease in order to increase their prices. The third one would be they wouldn't produce in such a good quality. They would reduce their quality in order to save costs, and therefore they will be maximizing profits. There is something called, and this is the fourth problem that we have from monopolies, it's called X inefficiency. X inefficiency, I'm talking about uses of the factors of production or resources. So because it's a monopoly, it is poorly managed, they will not use their resources in an efficient way. So there would be a problem. The resources would be poorly managed. They might be using more of our scarce resources and having a lot of waste and so on. And the last one is a need for regulation. Who puts the rules of and regulation in the country? It's the government. Now, government, since they want to protect the people, what they would do is they want to have competition in the country. They are against monopolies because to consumers, monopolies are not good. They will end up buying their goods at a higher price with cheaper qualities. So governments, they always stand on the people's side, and they would want to discourage monopolies and encourage competition. So what the government would do is they will they would want to create competition. So probably they would be paying subsidies to local firms in order to operate and compete, or they will hire a specific labor from the government, and they will have to pay them salaries in order to make sure that this monopoly is not taking advantage of the people and they're not raising their price so much. Okay, so what the government would do is they are paying money in order to create something called competition policy. Okay, now how can the government regulate competition? So this is related to the regulation. Since they want to create a competition policy, what they do is they impose fines on the firms that abuse their market power, so who are taking advantage of being a monopoly and selling the product for a very expensive price. This would cost money because they're sending people there, human resources, and the government is paying these laborers money. Second one would be forcing monopolies to break up into smaller firms. So this is when the government probably would interfere and pay subsidies in order to create competition. The third one would be regulating the prices, profits, and service levels of monopolies. This one would be, it creates a price ceiling. Yani they cannot sell this product higher than that particular price. They want to protect the consumers from the country. They don't want the monopoly to make abnormal profits anymore. Okay, let them make profits, but not excess profits, because the people need to benefit as well. They shouldn't be paying so much for that product. Okay, also the government, when they want to create a competition policy in order to regulate competition, they do something called consumer protection laws. So what does this tell you about? It's self-explanatory. It's a law that protects the consumer. Okay, so for example, it protects consumers from exploitation and harmful businesses. So for example, if this company is misleading consumer about the prices and the product, the government here will interfere. They will put a number, for example, on the product. You can call and complain about it, and the government will take care of it. Now, I will be talking about how firms can restrict competition, how monopolies can restrict competition. As we said before, they would never want anyone to enter the market and compete with them. So, what they would do is they will create barriers to entry. These barriers, as we said at the beginning, when I was introducing the chapter to you, they could either be natural, yani they are already found there, or they could be artificial barriers. Yani this monopoly creates this obstacle or barrier to prevent other firms from entering the market. Now, the natural barriers of entry, it means they are already there. First one would be what does natural barrier mean? It stops other companies, new companies, from entering the market. Why? The first reason would be because of economies of scale. Economies of scale, this monopoly is very old, so automatically it has the big machines in order to produce in large quantities. And as we took in previous chapters, the more we produce, the lower the average cost of production would be. Capital size, this is an old monopoly in operating in the market. They have a lot of machines. So capital, it stands for man-made resources. So automatically here at that point, they have a lot of capital and they can provide or produce in large quantities. Historical reasons, already the consumers know about that monopoly. They would be probably afraid to try a new competitor, or they created the consumer brand loyalty, remember? So no matter what, they're used to that product, they will keep on buying it no matter what. The fourth one would be something called legal considerations. Legal considerations, yani this is a legal monopoly. I create my copyright or a trademark or all rights reserved. All of these, I call them a patent. A patent, it's a legal document that proves that I am the only one in the market that will be providing this particular product. No one else could copy my product. In case they do, I have the right to sue them. Okay, now let's have a look at the artificial barriers. Artificial barriers, they are barriers that these monopolies create. What they will do is, they will use this one that we explained before, destruction or predatory pricing. I already explained it. Restricting supplies to rival firms. يعني for example, since I'm a monopoly, automatically I need a supplier to provide me with the resources in order to produce these goods and services. I threaten my supplier. I would tell him, if you give any other company these resources, I will stop buying from you. So he will be afraid to try that strategy because already he was making profits out of my company. He wouldn't want to risk his business and provide any other firm. Okay, the third one would be exclusive dealing. I threaten here not the suppliers, the retailers to stop supplying them with their product if they stock rival products. So, for example, if I am the monopoly that is producing, it prevents the retailers from stocking the producers from competing firms. They are forced by contract to purchase and sell only the product supplied by the monopoly. They cannot, as a retailer, sell from any other supplier but me. This is already found in the contract. Tying or bundling. يعني for example, I'm talking about two goods that are tied together. They come as a bundle. So for example, if I buy the printer, the HP printer, this is one very good example. I buy the HP printer. It is cheap compared to the price of the HP ink that I will have to use. As an HP printer, HP is a brand, I cannot use any other type of ink. I am stuck with purchasing for the rest of my life the HP ink, and it is very expensive. Okay, a bundle, this is a tied good. Okay, they come together. Bundling is, for example, I'm talking about Office. They come together, Microsoft Office 365, it comes as a package. So I buy it at a cheaper price when I buy the whole package, which includes PowerPoint, Excel, Access, Word document, blah, blah, blah. If I buy each one by itself, it would cost me more money. So automatically I would say, you know what, it is better to buy the whole thing, even if I never in my life used Access or Excel. But to me, I think, I get more things and I would get it at a cheaper price. This is the last objective. It is the advantages of monopolies. So even if we thought for the consumer it is very bad, no, on the contrary, sometimes a monopoly could be good. So are all monopolies bad? No, they are not. We have four reasons. First of all, it could be more efficient and it could have a lower cost than smaller firms. Why? Because remember, they are using a strategy called massive production. They are producing in large quantities. Okay, so we have a massive scale of production. The second one, sometimes it might face competition from firms overseas, not from the country. So when they face this competition from overseas, they will start making their products better as a local company because they will be afraid that the consumers will start buying from other companies from overseas. The third one would be its market is a contestable market. It means we have a few barriers of entry. This means that new firms would be easily able to enter the market of the monopoly if it was to charge higher prices to earn abnormal profits. So this is a good thing because they will be afraid of not having this idea in their mind, we need to always make abnormal profits. They will hopefully change their strategy. Now, since they make abnormal profits, the good thing about it is that they will invest these profits in order to make their product better. They will invest this money that they make in something called the research and development department. It's R&D department. This department, they always try to make their product better. Guys, we are done with Unit 3, absolutely done. What we would do to make sure that we are absolutely done with it, I would like to solve with you page 259. We have an exam preparation question. It's about a past paper question, okay? And if you have any questions, do not forget to contact me on Edmodo at any time, and I will reply to you as soon as possible. So please solve page 259 on your books. I need you to write it down on your copybooks, and we will correct it together during our Zoom meeting. Thank you.